I guess is the best way I'll put it.
Very experimental though.
Yes.
Unless they've been scrimming with it, but Jesus.
How do you feel about OD this patch? Because we actually haven't seen him this tour, but he's been banned quite a few times.
Greatly nerfed since Meteor Hammer got nerfed.
Okay.
But still playable. I feel like people are going just Witchblade now and just not going the Meteor Hammer out.
Okay.
I've seen it a couple times, but only for like pub games, to be honest, too, not in professional games.
Yeah.
It seems okay. It still can be strong, but it's just not like the same first pick OD. Like it's Meteor Hammer kills everyone, so it's just different now. And I think it just has to have a purpose. And versus Timbersaw and Medusa, I can see the purpose, but will it work out? I don't know. It really depends on the OD player, I guess, if he is comfortable with it. And as you said, Yopaj isn't really known for his OD, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. Unless this is a
Offlane,
FBZ OD in a mid DK.
it could be, yeah. Doesn't really matter to me. Like whoever's better at the given hero and whatever lane is best, they should probably go for.
I really feel uncomfortable though both ways. I love seeing Yopaj on his playmaking mids that can kind of carry a game, and Dragon Knight and OD, neither of them really do that. I know he's played DK before and he's been good on it. Like he can play the heroes. I'm not saying he can't play these heroes. It's just it's not the style that we see him and go, oh my god, Jap Boy, my idol. Maybe he'll get some 5-man rampage with OD ult. That'd be kind of hype.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see Boom have such a different playstyle that isn't Yopaj always kind of just making these massive plays for them, right?
Yeah. Someone else will be making the hard plays, not OD this game.
I don't think she actually wants that though.
What?
I think you want Yopaj to be making all the plays.
I do, of course. 100%.
She wants to be able to come into the post game and be like, so Yopaj.
Yopaj, what up, homie?
Let me tell you.
Why don't you first phase Ember Spirit? What happened? Oh my god, an RML pike. That's a treat.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hype it up for me then.
No,
I didn't hear it in your voice.
I don't wanna.
And we're gonna sit here in silence.
I said it was a treat. What more do you want from me? I'm feeling really good about Fnatic's draft right now.
I mean, Coils are really good with Stone Gaze. So I just wonder how the mid matchup's gonna go. Like, does Puck and Joy just getting astraled all day? Because you can't phase shift dodge that. So a little worried for Puck's laning stage. But the hero does add a lot more team fight, and they're trying to follow that same like mentality of just having a bunch of team fight to play behind the Dusa. Now they have Timber instead of Tidehunter. They need that stun, so it makes sense.
I like it a lot. It used to be better last patch because it would kind of force OD off the Meteor build, because obviously Puck can just dodge it. But now he doesn't really go for that anymore because it got nerfed, so he's not the tankiest of heroes, so I guess he could kind of get bopped by OD.
What if it's
a Hex?
Plot twist here and it's a carry OD?
Oh, for real?
I was gonna say that, but then I was.
Because like, there's not a lot of good options. There's like a Luna versus the Timber. Monkey's banned.
Bear is coming.
Ursa is actually another one of those heroes that is good versus Timber, but please, please. Actually,
do you have more faith for Boom's Ursa here? I have to ask before I bring the casters.
I mean, no, unfortunately.
Alright, well then I'm going to bring in Mike and John, and hopefully at least one of them has faith in Ursa. Do you guys like this Boom? John, if you want to start.
No, not particularly. It's still a tough game for Jackie, you know. I mean, I do like that they give FBZ the OD. Me and Mike were having a chat that gives the Tusk a better lane combination, playing range to play with tag team. DK mid for Yopaj is, you know, as Sheepo said, not a playmaking hero, but holds steady in lane. I'm not sure if they fix their issues. I think you could itemize differently here for Jackie, but in the end, this is still a very kiteable game for an Ursa.
Yeah, John spent literally the whole draft complaining about Boom picking Ursa, and I told him it was going to happen, and here we are. Ursa is back, though I do agree with John. It's not a good pick, or at least it doesn't feel like a good pick here against Fnatic, and I go the same way. I think Fnatic's got this one.
So then, I don't want to say it. Are you guys going to try Caster Curse Fnatic here?
I mean, I just think
well, yeah,
Jabs is a genius, for sure. Like, he's picking all the heroes that Ursa's good against to bait them into pick Ursa every game.
Mind
because he knows that they only win when they have Ursa.
From the last time they played, the
Giga
only game they won was against the Ursa. Now again, in game 1 here, they won against the Ursa. Is it going to happen again, or are you're all in for the Fnatic? You're going to swap teams?
He might just not buy an Ags this game. That'd be kind of hype. That'd be
So hype.
But like, I'll curse it. Let's go,
Okay,
Fnatic!
Fnatic. You guys are for Fnatic as well. As we jump into game 2, who really knows what's going to happen in this series? But please, Mike and John, take it away.
Well, they asked for a Caustic's curse, John, so I've got to do it. There's no chance in hell Fnatic lose this game. I mean, they've got it 100% in the bag here against Boom Esports. There's absolutely zero way Fnatic could lose this and force to a game number 3.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think Boom can do it. I'm sure Zach is cheering for you right now. Gary's clapping his hands, and the Boom admin's logging out of Twitter. You know, that's all Boom's doing now to fix their back end, as they're very superstitious, as we all tend to be when it comes to Dota sometimes. Like, he might, you know what? I feel like he should always be logged out, but you never know with Boomin. I don't know if he's logged in, but he definitely logs out after that. Still, Mike, game 2 looking spicy. A few changes here and there in draft. OD at the release for FBZ, so it feels a lot better in the offlane. I mean, the Ursa. Like, let's roll back to this fuzzy wuzzy, Mike. Ursa.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you feeling about this? Give me your full thoughts. You know.
Well, no, so you and I had an argument. Well, not an argument. We were debating this Ursa pick throughout the draft that was ongoing in the back end, and I thought they were going to go Ursa purely based on the lane matchup, but I agree with you, John, that it's not the greatest pick because we just saw what happened to it going later in the game. I personally wonder whether Jackie's going to switch up item builds this time. Because you heard me game 1, I was a little bit shocked about the Battle Fury build-up. Obviously, it looked good for the first half of the game and then kind of just dropped off later on when Raven became way too big. This time, it seems like he might go down a different route. Seems like he's already got the Orb of Corrosion queued up and the Morbid Mask. So maybe we're going down another route here, John, but I do side with you, John. I don't think it's a great idea into Raven's Medusa for the second time in a row.
Yeah, it's a toughie. I mean, again, I don't think the Battle Fury is the be-all, end-all of that. It feels like just some of the decision-making after Battle Fury. Battle Fury BKB is fine. It allowed him to eclipse Raven and farm. You could have made an argument to go Diffusal first with Blink and BKB. Maybe that allows you for some aggression. That could be one way to go as well. But I think the last game, the MKB pickup, was just strange. Like, it's mainly to deal with Wind Ranger's Wind Run. I mean, how do you chase down a Wind Ranger as an Ursa when she's moving at max move speed? It's a bit strange, and I think we'll definitely not see that again from Jackie, but who knows what he will go. I mean, again, Diffusal's an option here, and just kind of run from there. The puck is an interesting change from Fnatic, you know, much more traditional RML, sort of mid, but we've seen changes to the puck as well here, Mike, where that Ags timing isn't there. You know, it's a level 25 timing for the BKB piercing Dreamfoil, which can make it a bit tough. So I think the BKB timings for Boom still feels strong, and that's where the puck feels really awkward, where you have to wait for 25, or you have to time yourself on the Dreamcoil. You can't beat it in an instant stun. For your team, you do still have like Overgrowth to pierce through that spell immunity early, but that will take like a fast blink on John Yuel, and whether or not this game allows him to do that is a different question.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that, John. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, you and I, we'd love a game 3 between these two, the top 2 teams in SCA for 2-2. Who doesn't want a game 3 here in this tiebreaker for first place? But Fnatic obviously looking very good so far. Game 1 in their hands. Boom, they do have a tendency of losing game 1, as they like to say. So obviously those issues aren't ironed out quite yet. But bot side, Tims, run in on the task, does actually get the bounty. He actually walks away with it. So a 3-for-1 trade. Boom Esports with the advantage. And while we're around, I suppose we should start with the bot lane. You're going to have Tims and FBZ there on the OD task against Januel and Raven. Once again on the Medusa and the Tree and Protector. John, how does this bot lane go?
It's a lot better than game 1, I think. I mean, you've got some range to play with on FBZ. You've got a combination with tag team you can play off of. You could just Astral Imprison the Medusa, drain her mana fairly quick with that. And Tims has done a great job of cutting the tree line on the left side of lane. So John Will's placed the force to play right side, not the best spot to really look for aggression. and that does give a little bit more for Boom. It's still, you know, one of those lanes Fnatic really likes, very defensive. You just let Raven farm. Level 2, level 3 does feel really good for Boom, and there is that early timing of Meteor Hammer. You don't necessarily just have to wait for Astral, you do have chain stunts with Snowball as well. So you can kind of just play around that. Lots of ways to just keep them within Meteor Hammer range. And I think we've got to see that aggression come out from FBZ, because he had a bit of a slower lane last time. You need to see that speed coming out from this OD to really manage Raven's farm here.
Yeah, it makes me really sad, by the way, that OD is still just picking up Meteor Hammer, and that's basically all the hero does these days. But even after all those nerfs to the item, it's still just the item pickup here for this hero. So we should have a look at the other lanes as well. Of course, top lane, you're going to have Jackie there again against Jabs, who was very dominant game 1 on that Tidehunter. This time on the Timbersaw. See, it does feel like a similar matchup almost to the Tide versus Ursa. Timber obviously has the chains, though, much easier to get away. It doesn't seem like Jackie's going to have the greatest time this lane either, I don't think.
Yeah, it's still a stable farming lane for the Ursa. They are getting decent lane control out here. Jackie's not being shoved away from his farm. DJ's not really lining up for any aggression. Still stuck at level 1 as well, so no shackles to play with to set up for Jabs. But as the levels build up for Fnatic, that opportunity presents itself more and more. Now, you've got shackles, you've got Hex to set up for the chain, for the whirling death on the Timb, and that just makes it easy to rip through Jackie. You have to play really well with a pushback here to give those opportunities for Jackie to harass back, and even then, with reactive armor up and running by level 3 at level 2, and you have enough sustain for Jabs to live through a lot of that burst.
Yeah, chances are you aren't killing Jabs until you have the sharpshooter up on Skem. Maybe then you've got a chance, but before then, chances are he's just going to be fine. If we have a quick peek at the mid lane, of course, Japoy going to be up against Armel here. The most boring matchup, as we like to say, John, because there's a Dragon Knight in the mid lane. Puck versus DK. I want to ask you who has the advantage, but I feel like Dragon Knight just never loses mid lane, so I guess that's probably the answer.
Yeah, you just farm. Double bracers up for Yopaj. You know, he's not going to be harassed anytime soon. He's not going to be pushed out of lane anytime soon, so Armel's just going to have to farm as well. Armel does have an easier time in runes, though.
Tim's trying to move in. They did actually abuse the tag team and Shards, but it just wasn't quite enough damage as they were actually focusing Raven rather than going after Januel. So they do burn a lot of mana from Raven, but that's about all they get out of that gank initiation.
Not able to find the kill, and again, you are still finding some really good farm here for Raven. FBZ not able to secure as many CS himself. They're still doing a good job of cutting through the tree line, preventing Januel from having that easy angle to play with the Fiend, although... Ooh.
Oh, they don't go for the shackles. DJ holds out. He did have the mango available. In fact, never mind. He would have still been short with the mango. So he did the math on the spot, realized he wouldn't have the enough mana for the shackles, and just leaves it at that. Jackie does make his way out there on the Ursa, but still kind of tough days for him on that hero. As in contrast, Raven's having another very free laning stage on this Dusa.
Again, not too much you can do to stop it. You can try getting aggressive, and you did see that line up a couple of times. Not quite enough to really find the kills. And as long as Raven isn't dying, you know, he's farming safe. He's just spamming out the Mystic Snake, harassing FBZ. FBZ is going to hit his Meteor Hammer timing relatively soon, maybe in the next 3 minutes or so. And once you have that up, I think that's the point where you should really start to ramp up that aggression. You can't allow this Dusa to have that free farm, especially if Jackie's not going for Battle Fury. And you raise that potential here, Mike. Jackie could change his mind about his Ursa build. If there's no Battle Fury, you can't keep up and farm the same way as we saw in Game 1 here.
It doesn't seem that way. Still no kills happening across the map yet. First blood yet to be drawn between these two. Much quieter start to this game. Bot lane, you have seen a lot of harassment coming out from Tims and FBZ, but again, Raven still finding the farm he needs on that Dusa. I suppose when the Meteor Hammer's up, you could certainly kind of expect a kill on the Dusa, but even then, with the mana shield, it's very challenging, even with that much damage and disable. Tims, he might move in now with the level 1 tag team. He does have a skill point saved up, just in case he needs Snowball last minute. Don't do anything though. Even after the Astral, they don't go for the plate. Just every time they live Raven, Januel, he's just freely able to heal up the Dusa. Every single time, and they just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, just again, very passive start from both sides, just focusing in on that build-up. I think the only lane we're seeing a real big difference here is mid. They are collapsing here.
They missed the initial stun on the Dragon Tail, but Skem's going to move in with a Bushwhack, though. A great phase shift from Armel. Even voice lining them at the end. Just letting them know he'll juke everything.
Yeah, they're still trying to get that push in. It's just so hard to catch a puck without, like, blink melee Dragon Tail. There's enough openings for Armel to just constantly dodge.
Armel gonna find an Arcane Rune in time. Is not gonna get stunned up yet. Orbing back towards the south, but Japoi on the chase along with Skem, but they can't catch him. Armel's just dancing circles around Boom Esports, and they've wasted the last minute of this game trying to kill this puck. They'll get nothing for their trouble.
Such a hard target to hold. You're going to need that blink on Yopaj. He's going to have to think twice about the range he comes in with that blink as well, and the use of Dragon Tail. I mean, even from Fog, as we saw, if you see the Acorn Truck flying through in vision anyway, you still have that window on the puck to dodge out. So your best choices are Astral Imprisonment, Meteor Hammer, if you get the timing right, or just blink Dragon Tail, and that's still a ways off. So they can't really commit. They are giving a lot of room out, though. I mean, despite the solo lanes, Jackie's still finding farm, and FBZ is also starting to ramp up a little bit in that build-up. So you're not losing too much for that commitment on mid, as Fnatic aren't able to capitalize as well with the lack of supports here.
Sken's moving up top lane, so they might be able to set up. It is still hard when you haven't got the Fury Swipe spilled up on Jabs. DJ's always an option, but he's been very good with his positioning on this Shaman. Not giving the openings whatsoever as bot lane. Instead, they'll try onto Raven. A lot of damage being dealt already onto the Medusa, but once again, Jonathan, they just don't have quite enough to finish Raven off. So he's perfectly fine. Genuel just going to heal him up, no problem, and well, boom. It does seem like they're going to need like a third man here for this Medusa. And even then, I can't say he's going to die.
I think they're close to it. They've got level 6 up on FVZ now, so Santis is ready to go with the damage, and the Meteor Hammer was up for that last engage. So they've got some good burn sources, you know, some good ways of keeping that Dusa under control, but they need to work their angles better, and it's at this point where Fnatic sees that Meteor Hammer. They can play safer on Raven. Side of Boom, again, playing a bit of a slower game up against Fnatic to Fnatic's benefit. They are trying onto mid with Dragonform back up in Yopaj.
Very, very difficult though, Armel, just not leaving them alone to have their way with that tier 1 mid tower. And now the Dream Coil does snap. Shards are out to block the way. Japoi, he's going to be alright. Skem, I can't say the same for him though. The chase is still going. Jabs, just so tanky on that Timbersaw, wants to keep it up. Bushwhack is going to be there. He's still moving in, but it does seem like he's going to pay for it. Going a little bit too far onto the hoodwink. Jabs will go down, and that was actually first blood going the way of FBZ. Is now DJ also going to get caught out. Meteor Hammer to drop. DJ, he'll be the secondary to die here, and well, it does seem like Boom, they'll have a bit of time to try and take down this tier 1 mid.
And this is what we talked about, Mike, from that laning phase. The OD has to play a really fast game, has to be active with that Meteor Hammer, and FBZ knows that he can't just camp the Dusa here, he's got to apply map pressure. Shows up, helps his team, wins up a couple of fights, and they can get the push going with your Meteor Hammer. Again, you're still dealing with Protector armor here. Can be a slower process, but eventually you do rip through, and that gives Boom a very nice map control advantage. Now they've got some good deep wards hanging around, watching the entrance of the triangle, watching the entrance of that bot jungle area near the river on the mid side. That should allow them to spot out the farm as it comes through, and they're giving Jackie a ton of space. Ursus managed to really catch up. Number 1 in CS now up top, no contest, with Jabs rotating mid. And with Boom kind of getting this early timing now, they can start running around just 3 or 4 and look for opportunities.
Raven, bot lane does get caught. Meteor Hammer gonna land. This time, damage is there, but Tim's bit off the mark with the shards. Not locking Raven down, and in the meantime, up north, Jabs playing around here with Skem and Jackie, but he might pay for it. He does have those Mac chains up though, so it does seem like he's gonna be just fine. Still Fnatic. Tim's now going to be caught with a Dream Coil, but he does have Snowball available, and he does have Japoi moving in to try and help out. Armel trying to get the job done, but doesn't quite have enough damage. Nothing like the Witch's Blade to really amp that damage up onto the Tusk. Seems like once again Boom Esports get away from this puck.
And they're really building up a net worth lead here on Boom. Not much action, but they've gotten themselves a 3k lead with that mid-tier 1 tower taken. Just how well they're farming lanes. Somehow Jackie's again finding a lot more farm than Raven. even up against the Timbersaw, he's not being pressured as much, whereas Raven, he's already forced into the jungle. Not many stacks, he can't clear them out all too well as well, only having a Wraith Band and Power Treads up. So it's a bit of a slower process for Deduce at this point, and Boom's getting that ramp up here. Probably just waiting for that blink on Yopaj. Still 1,000 gold away until that point, but they're applying pressure onto the tier 1 towers and just playing as 3 or 4, just constantly applying some map pressure that Fnatic isn't geared to respond to yet. They don't have level 6 up on Zhao. They've got the wards ready on DJ, but don't really have a good target to jump with that yet.
Jabs, top lane, was dropping low. Jackie will get the enrage in time, and it seems like he's going to be okay. Jabs, he may go for a chase with those Mac chains up. Chakram is there. DJ has the Serpent Wards. It gets a great block off, and Armel, he's going to join in, but FBZ, he saves the day for now. Jackie, he gets out of the ward block. Can they take him down? It does seem like they will, but Jackie is still running as Armel. He's going to try with the orb, but it will not land. The Ursa's fine. And now Armel's the one in danger.
Oh.
He's going to try and get away, but he'll be stunned up by FBZ. Orb will be there, but they've got the damage. Oh, Fnatic, they miss out on so much. And the wards will drop, John, but no tier 1 tower will go down with them.
They dive really deep for that. Like, you know, the first shackle and the enrage being popped, it felt like your opportunity is kind of gone, but they kept forcing the issue, wanting to go for the tier 1 and the kill, finding neither. 0 to 5 start for Boom. They're starting to find that response they need, and it feels like it's coming off the back of FBZ to an extent Yopaj, but we're not seeing that blink up yet. Just FBZ showing up on the OD, having the saving spell and the Astral, having a way of burning through some of that living armor, or at least counteracting that regen with a Meteor Hammer and giving them more control, is definitely giving Boom the angles here as they start to invade that triangle area.
Chance not going to catch DJ. Shaman will be fine, though the chase does seem to still be on as they get the ward drop down. Skem get the D wards off as Skim's going to move in, does find the snowball. That'll be the Shaman gone. We saw how important it was last game for Jabs to be able to, or rather DJ, to be able to get the blink up. Seems like the blink is still going to be a while away here for Fnatic.
It's a great realization for Boom and just slowing down that pause for slowing down that big timing, because we saw in the last game, again, Jackie was just constantly shackled, constantly hexed up by DJ. DJ had a BKB along with a blink towards the end of that game. Not the same game this time. And with that triangle take, with the kills they've got, with no wards, they can go for Rosh number 1, which was also severely lacking for Boom. Fnatic doesn't have that opportunity with the Shaman wards anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic got like every Roshan last game, and well, Boom, they'll get the first Roshan this game. Something that I think they were lacking quite a lot in game number 1. This time, obviously, mistakes have been rectified as Jackie will now have the Aegis up. I believe he is actually going into a Diffusal Blade to boot. So going for the more standard item build, I'd argue, in this this current meta with Ursa. We'll see if Boom can make it work immediately, though, as they are going to smoke up as 3. You want to be as aggressive as possible now with this Ursa. Fnatic, they are grouped up around Raven. They almost kind of sense that Boom is coming, and that they are, as the break is already going to be there on the Dusa. Already mana getting low. Raven, got to be careful. Snowball will be there in Yopaj. He will initiate onto the Dusa, and it seems like they'll leave Raven die. Vinjanuel going down to Jackie. Fnatic. Oh, they've even caught Jabs in the mid lane. Jabs will get stunned up by FBZ. Do they have enough control for the Timber? Tims, he does have Snowball back up and available, so he'll commit it straight away. Jabs gonna go for the TP, but no! They have the vision on the high ground. And that'll be the life of Jabs. 0 to 9 now. 5k advantage to Boom Esports, and they're not done yet, John. Another 3-man smoke.
And this is the Boom that was sort of missing in game 1. They played a slower game, they opted to farm up in the Ursa, and now they're just running and gunning with FBZ in tow as well. Blink up on Yopaj, they've got that instant stun to pin down even something like the Puck if they get their angles right. And Raven, oh no.
Raven, he's not safe. It's not like game 1, Raven. The triangle is not secure in FBZ. Drops the hammer, they'll take the Ancients away. And Boom, I mean, it's something about game 1, John. They just don't like game 1.
Yeah, you know, game 1, they seem game 1 cursed. I will gladly blame Boom admin. I'm not sure if he was logged in for game 1. My suspicion is yes, Mike. He was. And maybe that's the blame on Zach. You know, let's just throw Zach under the bus there as well. Throw everyone under the bus because Boom's showing up for game 2. Don't know what happened in game 1, but 0 to 10. I mean, jeez, 0 to 10, 6K lead. Fnatic, they got the big openings they wanted. You know, they've got Raven Deuce, so they won it really strongly in game 1. Jackie, a bit alone here down mid.
Are they gonna jump though? He's got Aegis. Jackie, he's gonna be all right. They'll just Earth Shock away, and they don't commit the coil. Because there's really no point, because his team isn't too far away either. They could connect after the Aegis, so they just leave him be, and well, instead, boom, they'll go after the top tier 1 tower, and they'll just continue to control the Radiant Triangle.
Just keep cutting off that big source of farm for Dedusa to snowball off of. There is that bot lane for Raven to play with, decent creeps to farm up, but no massive stacks, no massive build up for Dedusa. Again, that 6K lead for Boom, very well distributed among every core. On the side of Fnatic, it just feels like they're waiting for so much more. Because they've got this Timbersaw off lane, it's just rough.
Poor old DJ. Still just trying to work on towards that blink, but he's just going to keep getting further and further away from it. FBZ, he's been a real menace on this OD so far. 6-0-3, and it's just not slowing down. Not whatsoever.
No, just on the aggressive constantly. He's got his Aether Lens as well for longer reach. Going for the Ags. Double Astral Imprisonment's going to be there. Lots easier to hold on to these massively elusive targets and, you know, just build up the man difference for the Santies. So, output of FBZ is just growing higher and higher. Meteor Hammer, blind here. Not going to catch jabs, but we'll at least just farm up the creep wave. And just look at Boom's positioning. Constantly playing towards mid, taking over the bot jungle, grouping up this 3+2. Not giving a single target opportunity for Fnatic to jump onto it or Timbersaw. And for Fnatic, they still need so many more items. Your Dusa's not fight ready. Manta coming out soon. Scotty still a ways off. Armel going for the blink has the Witchblade up, so the output is looking better. But once you start to approach this point with Boom's BKBs, that Dream Coil, it's going to take until level 25 until you start to have control from the puck's end. So it just becomes pretty tough to find the angles this time around. And your supports are just not getting the gold influx they need for their blink initiations here as well.
Absolutely not. More objectives to go down now. I mean, last game we talked about the Treant Protector from Januel doing so much work, healing up all those towers, and it doesn't seem like Boom are going to let that happen again. I mean, you've got the OD Meteor Hammer, you've got a Dragon Knight, you're just not going to allow it as mid lane. Who have they jumped? They've got Armel on the puck, he's going to go down. Skem setting up there with Japoyan. That's a massive one, as even top lane, they'll drop the wards to try and get the tier 2 and force them back. But Tims, he wants the kills. Shards out, not going to catch anyone. Tims, he'll get the snowball with the vision. From that observer ward, they know Genuel's around somewhere, but they cannot stop him from running. Not quite yet. In fact, never mind. Tims finds him with the shards out. That's going to be another to go the way of Boom as Fnatic. They are yet to pick up their first kill this game, number 2.
Yeah, it's 0 to 13. I don't think we've ever seen this, Mike. We've never seen like 0 to double digits before at almost 20 minutes. This is madness for me. They saw game 1, they're like, all right, that was weird. They come in game 2 and they look insanely strong. Fnatic not finding the openings the same way they did in game 1. Again, they don't have triangle control. They don't have the splash farm front.
Marmel's going to be careful. Instead, they'll move in onto Japs. Shackles will help out a little bit. In fact, there's your overgrowth now. They might be able to clean up Fnatic. They're moving in, and Japoy and Tims are gone. Boom, they've got a back, but a great 3-man Dream Coil. Armel, he's caught absolutely everyone. Oh, it's a perfect counter initiation here from Fnatic, as they'll completely wipe Boom Esports. It went from 0 to 13 to 5 to 13 there, John.
Oh man, on a flip of a coin just like that. I mean, they find a punishment. Boom, get ahead of themselves this time, overextend, play under vision from Fnatic. Really good wards drop to counteract that movement from Boom, just playing in the triangle with that cliff ward. And they get the punishment. They bounce back, network lead for Boom disappears now. This is where it starts to get a little bit dicey. You've slowed down Raven really well, but that's still a Dusa farming in jungle. That's still Dusa with, with laning creeps to go back to. And it still builds up a lot faster than Ursa. Ursa's just been playing off the back of these kills, off the aggression. The BKBs aren't quite up for Boom yet. Chapoy is still saving up for his. So it's Jackie, or OD, trying to rush that Ags, as we talked about earlier. So you don't have that spell immunity yet to just stand there and fight, to not care about the control from DJ. And again, DJ just finds these really good angles on a Shadow Shaman to get that single target control, even without the blink here, Mike. And once that blink is up on DJ, that changes things for Fnatic. That gives them more jump opportunities, more ways of following through from Armel's Dream Coils from afar, and just allows them to play the pickoff game that they kind of have been lacking for a while here.
I mean, it's the big game changer last game was DJ's blink, and soon enough he'll have it back up. See if that is going to be the turnaround here for Fnatic in game number 2. So it's only less than a 1k net worth lead after that massive team fight for Fnatic. Because next Roshan, once again, is going to be very important. You lost first Roshan to Boom. See, Fnatic do certainly want the second. We saw how important it was in game 1. So they understand how important it is in game 2 as we do go on with this game 2. Already a double damage rune waiting at the Roshan pit, but Roshan's not going to be up for a bit of time. Instead, Armel, he'll take it himself in the puck.
Yep. A little bit longer till that respawn there, and as you mentioned, Mike, both sides have to play for that Rosh. Fnatic can still play with wards here, Mike. You know, it's still level 1 wards, but you can still just drop and take care of Roshan with low committal. Boom, gotta keep track of that area. And they are doing a good job. They're just constantly running towards triangle. In fact, they might force a movement out here again.
They're going to try into the triangle, but we saw what happened last time. Boom. They want to rerun it. Try again, and well, this time, Fnatic, they won't be in position to try and fight back. In fact, we are going to have another pause out from Jabs, as it does seem like the ping issues continue for the Timbersaw. Hopefully, Jabs gets that sorted ASAP. See, it's been a bit of a rough game for him on the Timbersaw this game, but you definitely don't want to have to lag on top of the terrible start anyway, as thank yous are going around. Not sure what Skem's done here, but Skem's been doing something nuts.
Nah, Skem just says, take your time, TYT. So, they're like, alright, thank you, Skem, we can take your time, we'll fix our connection. You know, I mean, they're both based in the Philippines now, so they both know the banes of Filipino internet. Mike, it's not good. It's definitely not good.
It certainly isn't, Jonathan. I mean, this pause itself brought to you by PLDT, as the chat would love to say.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Restart our outro. Okay, we'll be here for a bit. That takes a little bit of time.
Jabs. Tell you, Jabs probably won't fix it. Let me tell you. I haven't had the pleasure of experiencing the PLDT buff yet, John, but like I told you, I'm going to try and come down to the Philippines, and I might bring a laptop, John. I might set up at your house and, you know, just spend a day on the internet. Just really get that true Filipino experience when it comes to esports, you know?
Yep, yeah, you'll have a fun time. If you're in my house and the internet drops, you'll hear me get very mad. I think you've seen me get mad at my router before. Yes. It gets pretty bad. Fortunately, I'm not on PLDT. I am on a different ISP, which I will not honor by saying their name because they're also pretty bad. Let's be fair. It's all bad, Mike. It's bad all the way down. You know, it's like a what can you do situation. I know, like yeah. I guess at least it's not indie home is the least I can say. I don't know if that's even any like consolation here. It's like at least it's not indie home, but even then it's like it's still bad.
It's got to be better. I mean, indie home packet Phoenix, Jonathan. There's a reason why the word Phoenix is in that name, you know? It's got to be better than PLDT, surely.
Oh, you're going to get the Indonesians worked up in that one, Mike. It's definitely not better. Is not a word I'd use for any of these ISPs.
Speaking of Indonesians, John, I was in the chat earlier with T1 versus Polaris, and I was being, you know, classic idiot. I was, you know, typing WK, you know, the Indonesian laugh, as they like to say, and I was even putting the 555 there for the ties, you know, because there was a few ties there as well. Would you mind explaining to me exactly how I pronounce those forms of laughter?
Yeah, I don't know about the 5. I think in Thai it's just pronounced as ha. That's why you can say ha ha ha. 555 is just pronounced as ha. For the WK, it's like wuk wuk wuk. I don't know. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like I've read Twitter threads where people are like I started laughing like that. I'm like I can't fathom how you laugh like wuk 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 wuk. I can't. I don't know.
I love it. I want to know how it's done, though. I want to try and replicate it.
Maybe if we have an interview with FBC or, you know, with, well, no one Fnatic's Indonesian, sadly, but, you know, if you have that interview with one of the Indonesian players, we should ask that. Why have we never asked that? That's a curious thing, Mike. That's interesting. I've never even bothered asking them.
Probably because we want to keep our jobs, John. That's probably why we haven't bothered asking. Oh, well, we'll find out one day. Is there a Filipino way to laugh, John, while we're at it?
It's terrible.
What is it?
It used to be all the
us.
rage. J3 was how you type it out. Jejemons. We'd call them Jejemons. And it's hehehe, you know, it's Spanish. J's silent. So it's like hehehe, but that used to be an entire thing. Jejemon speak. It's that subculture where, you know, you loved your X, small x, capital X, small x, underscore, that kind of thing. And we took it to the extremes because the Philippines was like the texting capital of the world in like the early 2000s or something. So we'd shorthand text every time because we're cheap people. You know, we want to save money when we send a message. We don't want to send 2 messages. So everything would be compressed, and that was like, it devolved to Jejemon, and that lasted for a while. I think my generation, at least people my age, went through that phase. I feel I don't like recalling that.
So they shortened the way you laugh in text messages for the sake of saving money or something? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, no, that wasn't the side effects of, you know, shortening your text, because it's still 2 letters for every laugh. But it just stemmed from that culture of subbing in symbols. I don't know, what was the point of that? Like, spelling, I know, with A and 0, it's like, what is the point? Just to look cute? We wanted to decorate our texts? I don't know. It was a weird time, like.
It was back in the MSN days, John. You had to do cool things, you know, to, you know, impress all your mates. Yeah, you weren't there back in my day when I was playing MapleStory back in beta. It was a thing. You had to do the lowercase x, the capital X, and then you put something cringy like Sasuke or Uchiha from Naruto, and then you put the capital and and you know, the MapleStory players back then, they know what I'm talking about. There was always some cringy name of some assassin. You wouldn't know, John. You weren't in MapleStory, but you know.
I was in Ragnarok, Mike, just a little bit towards the tail
I was
end.
too, John. I was too.
Yeah.
All right, don't do me like that. I didn't just play MapleStory. Ragnarok was the first MMORPG I played.
Of course. Man, I still feel sad when I think back to Ragnarok days, because, you know, I'd probably like we had this magazine in the Philippines called K-Zone. They'd have these CDs for sometimes the Ragnarok expansions. I believe they launched Ragnarok there. They had like the demo disc. So I installed it. I played my free R. That's the I think I told this before. That's the time of scratch card internet. So you top up your net, it's dial up. And my parents wouldn't let me play it. They're like, nah, you're not paying for the internet. You're not paying for game time Ragnarok. You're not playing this game. And I never did. And then when I did, it was like Ragnarok Valkyrie, which was free to play. But by then, it was like, you know, like, I mean, the magic was still there, but it was super optimized. You were just grinding. And you had a lot of AFK bots in Frontera, you know, just selling stuff. So I miss the heydays, Mike. I wasn't one of the cool kids, Mike.
Oh, at least you got to play for your hour, John. I couldn't even do the what was it called? It was WOE, War of something, where the guilds went against each other. I can't remember what the E stands for, but basically my PC was in my dad's room, which was really bad because I had to log on at 4 a.m. in the morning to be able to join my guild, Jonathan, and, you know, have my impact, as I would say back then. And he was not very happy, John. That was the first and last time I ever got to do it, which was very, very sad for me. Very, very sad.
Man. And now that we have all the time in the world, what do we choose to do, Mike? When we have our best PCs, what game do we always go back to? This trap of Dota 2. We always just go back to this. All roads lead back to Dota 2 no matter what. I mean, I guess it could be worse. We could be just playing Dota 1. I don't know if that's worse. That could be better.
Could be playing League, John. You never know, right? It always could get worse, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, we didn't have to go there, Mike. I'm happy you do.
Oh, we did.
I have no words. I have no words. I'm gonna stay calm here. So we do have the unpause. We're back into the game, and we don't need to think about these other games. Yes, it is.
The word was trash, John.
Yes, it is, man. But you know what's not trash? This game. 5-13. We just saw Fnatic get that team wipe. Boom, still in the slight network lead. They've got the map control advantage as well. But they've got to be careful about bleeding out fights like that, because Fnatic, they've still got a lot of room to grow. Under Puck, under Dusa, even an under Timbersaw, there's still a lot of items Jabs can go for to have that impact. And we have another pause.
Go on, production. Switch it back to us. You know you want to. Just switch it back to us. Come on
Discord. Now. Discord issues. Really?
It's always Discord. They went from mic to Discord. That's it. That's the excuse now. Discord just can't hold a stable connection apparently. So we go again.
At the very least, Mike, it's not a Mike LaPhoenix issue. Otherwise, they'd be asking who has the issue.
In they jump. Armel gonna try and go onto the Ursa. Jackie, he's gonna need some help. He does not have an Aegis right now. He'll run towards the south, but the Dream Coil is gonna lock him down. Jackie, still very tanky in his own right, is gonna keep running. Another Astral from FBZ to buy a bit of time, and now the Bushwhack out from Scam. Still, they're not gonna land the puck with the Sharpshooter, but they've got Jackie out of there. Instead, Tim's gonna be the one to drop as Jabs will also go down, thanks to FBZ. And in the end, it won't be the worst trade in the world for Boom Esports.
Now that's a lot of back and forth. Really good use of the Enrage there on Jackie to boost his stat resist, breaking the coil, managing to turn away, and great saves from FBZ. Just having that added range with the Aetherlance to reach out with the Astral in the nick of time, and just using the cooldown really well. That's him without the Ags. Once he has that Ags, catching someone like the Ursa gets even tougher. It's a really good defensive play from Boom. They could have lost a lot more. Instead, they find a bigger kill on the Timbersaw. They do open up Roshan here. It is up, but they don't find big enough kills. You know, there's still the threat of Armel rolling up. There's still the threat of Overgrowth coming through from John Well with a good angle. So I think Boom will have to find a little bit more in terms of kills before Roshan becomes a very clean possibility. At least shove back the waves. Just clean up top. Roshan. Well, they'll just go for it.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast again to what happened in game 1, right? Like, now Boom Esports are the ones getting every Roshan. Shards and Aegis up this time around. No contest whatsoever as Fnatic, they are not in position, nor do they seem to know what's happening. It's already too late. Boom will take it. Jackie will happily accept his gifts. Now the game becomes just infinitely harder for Fnatic, at least for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. Secondary life on Jackie. He's got that free Enrage on the Earthshock, so again, a little bit more stat resist to get him through these engagements, and FBZ's Ags should be flying out soon here as well. So double Astral Imprisonment on hand. Would have loved to see him get the Shard, just to be really annoying, because that's a really tiltable Shard on the Astral Imprisonment, but not going to be happening as Boom will go for the smoke play. Again, collapsing towards mid. They don't have forward vision on the triangle, but they do have backline vision on the triangle. Could try to sneak through.
He could be the first target. Yopaj not going to find the stun yet, but eventually does get it off as Jackie will move in. There's a nice Bushwhack from Skem, but it's not going to be quite enough. Jackie needs to find another target. Instead, Armel in the backside with a very nice Dream Core, going to catch 2. But who are they aiming? They'll try onto Skem on the Hoodwink, and they'll find 1. Not a bad team fight for Fnatic so far. Zarmel looking for a bit more, but is going to get stunned up here from Yopaj. Jackie will try to move back in. FBZ gonna go for the Astral Meteor Hammer combination onto Jabs, but he's fine, and now the Overgrowth comes out. Genuel, he's gonna hold everyone down. They've lost the Aegis on Jackie. They might even lose FBZ. He's trying to back off on the OD. They're trying to keep him alive, but they're gonna forget about the Ursa. Jackie just held down in the Roshan pit, and Fnatic once again able to find a team fight that works in their favor as Raven gets the tips.
Yeah, just great positioning again from Fnatic. Great chase down. Good to force out that fight in such a strong chokehold, and there's just no way Jackie can run out by himself, and he's super reliant on the saves from FBZ in particular, and maybe sometimes even snowballs from Tims, although he doesn't have the blink for a blink-in snowball out, so that's not in play yet. He needs his BKB, and we're still reaching this point where even if you have that BKB on the Ursa, if you're fighting against Sedusa and you see the Stone Gaze, you have no counterplay. And you just have to face the other way. Fnatic's been playing around that Stone Gaze really well, clumping around Adusa, just forcing that decision out onto Jackie, and Boom, again, they can't afford to bleed kills like that. They're still trying to force this aggression out, they're still constantly trying to fight, but Fnatic is starting to bounce back in, and Adusa is becoming a massive issue. Scotty up, Raven has a lot of stats, has a lot of HP, lots of mana for that shield. The defusal does help on the Ursa, but how do you stand and fight and face Sedusa when he still manages to get Stone Gaze off? It's just nearly impossible unless you chain stun her first and burn her mana off immediately.
Arcandra going to be picked up here by Yopaj. Mid lane, he is looking to try and find something, it seems. The rest of Boom aren't close enough, so he can't really initiate right here. Fnatic still doing a very good job of just staying together as a team, surrounding Raven. Basically the same game plan as game 1. Just never leave Raven alone. Never let him get caught out. And this is why you just hated the Ursa pick during this game 2 draft, is it gets to a stage where Jackie just can't deal with the Dusa. If you just surround the Deucer as Fnatic, he's going to get through so many bodies before he can even touch Raven.
Yeah, I think the key for the Deucer matchup is really just going to be FBZ. Like, the OD can handle Deucer really well. Jackie cannot afford to keep jumping in as, like, a frontline anymore. You kind of want Yopaj to just be that big tanky hero up front. He can still kind of jump out as well. He's got his BKB. You do have the fresh BKB on Jackie, though. That could help the cause. A bit of a slow siege for Fnatic up top allows Boom to just apply some pressure down bot themselves, forcing out the early fortify here. Tier 2 still does fall eventually, but Boom leave Fnatic with only one outer tower left, only the mid-tier 2 standing. Fnatic could try to pressure onto the high ground. Their push is fairly quick if they commit wards. That's a decision they'll have to make. As Boom very far away from that defense. Again, still playing mid, still playing bot, keeping the creep wave shoved in. Fnatic has that opening for the top lane to shove.
Are they going to trade? The Serpent Wards are down, so the push is not going to take very long here for Fnatic. And Boom, they are going to try and respond to this. Raven, he's just going to frontline for the team once again. They'll deal with the Serpent Wards, but again, we saw this in game 1. Fnatic, they're more than happy to just get that chip damage off and just back out of there as everyone just TPs away. Who are they going to find? They might catch Jabs. He'll chain BKB up. He's going to be alright, it seems. So he can always just commit the TP away if he wants to. But it seems like he's going to meet up with Januel and, well, they'll run together. Why the hell not?
No. Plays team, back off as a team. Scan does spot a straggler, so they should know Januel's still there, but not quite sure if he's TP'd out. So drop some wards, doesn't spot out, and Januel's going to be able to back off. As you mentioned, might hit and run on the objectives. You can get that done very easy with a Shadow Shaman here. You've got that blink on DJ. You've got the Force Staff to save as well. So pretty soon Aetherlance will be up, but they are still charging this triangle again.
They're going to try another time. Jabs already caught out by Skem, but it's not the target they want to start on. So Skem going to be fine. So will Jabs, though. Maybe this will be the game changer, though. FBZ, he's got the blink up now, so you can really target who you want with that Astral. Both of them, in fact. It just still seems so tough going into Raven as he's building up bigger and bigger on this Medusa. It seems like Fnatic, they'll group up, stick together. They might even go for a smoke very, very soon as they've got one on DJ and they do pop it. The rare occurrence that Fnatic actually goes for their own initiation here is it's usually Boom trying to get it going. Mid lane, they might even run right into FBZ. There's DJ, he does jump in with a Hex out. Japoy gonna try and help though. Onto the Shaman, they might take him though. No, DJ's out of there. FBZ's down. In fact, Skem, he got him with the Sharpshooter. The Shaman is gone, but Yopaj, he's in massive, massive danger as they'll just keep going onto the Dragon Knight. Meanwhile, Jackie will try and chase down Raven. It's a one-on-one scenario as Raven, he doesn't want to bar of it, but here comes the team. Here comes the cavalry as Jackie is still trying. A great bushwhack, but Raven is still running. They do get the Earth Charge off. Is that going to be enough? Raven is still outrunning Jackie. They can't catch him. He'll heal up. Jackie, it's him against the world. It's not looking good as high fives all around. Oh, it's a full team wipe once again for Fnatic. And Raven walks out scot-free. I just don't know how he does it. He keeps doing it, John.
He's way too tanky. Like, the Ursa just doesn't handle the Deucer well enough in a vacuum, and that wasn't quite the vacuum. You know, Fnatic was entirely backing him up. The initiation from Boom, the counter initiation, wasn't fast enough to save FBZ. And it really does feel like the key of Boom in this engagement is down to that OD. You have to get the Astral saves. You have to have that use of Santa's Eclipse. Without the BKB to protect on that OD, he's very susceptible to that jump in. DJ, again, doing the work here, Mike, blinking up, getting the Hex, forcing Yopaj to immediately blink BKB in. So once that BKB faded, Fnatic had all the time in the world to just handle that BK, to not even worry about the OD bursting them down, and just ignore the Ursa. Like, it's just such a non-factor. Jackie just doesn't do enough damage, doesn't sustain in these fights. Even if he is isolated and, you know, trying to rip through the Deucer, he's still kited around with a Scotty to slow, and everyone's very mobile in Fnatic's end. You don't have a Basher on the Ursa yet, so I'm not sure how you rectify that for Boom. Perhaps that Basher on Jack, boys, could be the factor. You're going to need something like a Basher Satanic here. Roche, 2 minutes away. So there is ample enough time for Boom and Fnatic to set themselves up for that next objective. But looking at the net worth swing here, Mike, 11k up for Fnatic after, again, a 0-13 start. 14-15 now, net worth lead clearly in their way. Raven just farming like a madman. And it starts to feel like Boom's lineup is starting to peter off a bit. Like, there is scaling here. And I think, again, in my eyes, it's down to FBZ. It's the OD versus Dusa. It's the OD with the saves on Astral. FBZ has to get his BKB. He has to get some control going his way to survive and use all his spells in these team fights. Whether or not he has the time to farm to that point is a different question.
They're going to try something a little bit different here, John. Boom, they're going to smoke up from the bot lane and try to wrap around from the back side. A different position. Armel, he's a big target if they can find him, but Jabs already breaks the smoke. Still, Yopaj, he's in. He's got the puck, but they don't get the bushwhack. They don't have the lockdown for the puck as now Yopaj, he's too far forward. They'll save for now. Jackie's already in with the BKB out. He's just trying to chase down DJ. He might just have him on the Shaman, but he's been slowed up by this eye of Skadi. He still can't get him. In fact, now maybe he can, but he needs some help. The Ursa needs some help. He does not have a secondary life. He'll get to the low ground, but it may not matter. He's been left alone. All for the sake of this Shaman. As Armel, he's going to find another. Onto the OD. They just can't help. Or can they? FBZ, he'll just blink out his own way. But can they save this tier 3 tower? They're going to try. Yopaj, he's going to jump in with his own BKB now. But he's got no damage. In fact, he's got no mana at the moment. He's trying to run, but it's just so slowed up by this eye of Skadi. He is a range hero at the moment after all, John. Astral will save, but it's only for so long as Yopaj, well, Sanity's going to be there. DJ does drop. They'll try once again. Jackie's fought back into the team fight. Tims is down now. Jackie, who are we going to aim? He'll try for Raven, but he can't afford to die on this Ursa at the moment. No. He needs to back off, and he will. Tims, he will buy back to boot, but it's just so messy. It's just so messy. As they get Armel down, they've got Raven locked in. Raven can't TP away at the moment. Maybe Boom will be able to punish as Jackie actually pops his BKB just in case they need it.
It's a messy defense. It cost them so many buybacks on Boom.
What?
Fnatic, I mean...
What? Is it for Roshan?
Maybe assuming that Rosh, yeah, it is up. Good read from Ormel. He could go for a steal here. Dreamcoil is back up, so he could be disruptive in that fight. Boom not quite in position to go for that Rosh yet. He does check. Boom probably needs a little bit of a reset. We are seeing, again, the issues for the Ursa rise up here, Mike. Jackie just cannot chase, and when the BKB fades, there's overgrowth to pierce through the BKB anyway. There's the, even the Nature's, what's that? Not the Living Arm. Nature's Grasp is also annoying. The slows, Skadi, all too much for Jack to really sustain by himself, and the rest of Fnatic are coming in for this rush.
Yeah, but are they going to buy back on Raven? That's the question I have. Jabs, he's already in with the BKB. Jackie already so down low, might just go down. Jabs, he'll get it done himself. FBZ, he's going to save the day just barely. But can he actually save this Ursa? They are trying. Jackie, he is not going to be saved. He does go down, and now Fnatic, they might just clean up. Boom Esports, they went for the Roshan, but they are going to be punished very heavily. This DJ actually just kind of blocking at them right now, John and the Shaman. And they'll move in onto the Roshan themselves now. Oh, Boom, they're falling apart here against Fnatic game 2. It's just so reminiscent of what happened in game number 1.
Yeah, they're just forcing aggression out. They're getting punished for it. Their core-to-core matchup from the safe lane isn't ideal. You do have a solution for Dedusa in the OD, but there's no BKB on FBZ to really save him in the middle of these fights, so he's also a bit of a sitting duck. And now Fnatic take that Rosh, they've got a refresh up. They give it to DJ, they could just go for the end here. Take a Rax, maybe even just jump down to the tier 4s. The respawns are still fairly short in Boom. Probably not going to go for that end game play. But the pressure is on, and it doesn't take too long for Fnatic to find these objectives here, Mike.
Well, they're going to have to try. Desperate times for Boom. 30 seconds without the Ursa. The top rack's just being taken by DJ solo with the Serpent Wards. He can just do that alone, no problem. They'll go for a twofer. Your only option is to let them take these and just wait for Jackie to respawn up. Skem, he's trying to delay things, but Jackie, or rather Jabs, is going to be right behind. FBZ, going to go for the Astral Meteor Hammer. Jabs, how far do you want to go for this, sir? He'll pop his BKB. He really wants the Hoodwink kill. Skem is still going to survive, and now Jabs, he could be punished for going so far. They get the sharpshooter off. Snowball will be there, and they do get him. Still 2 Raxes to go down. Boom are very far behind for game 2, but they're still not out of it yet.
Not out of it yet. They're staying in the game. They've still got a lot of fight on to high ground. And they've still got some scaling left. You know, we're not fully kitted out here on our Ursa just yet. We're still waiting for the BKB on FBZ, although that will leave him without buyback. It just feels necessary for these fights. And Yopaj, he's got his Heaven's Halberd up. He's just going for a full Silver Edge to have a secondary break, have a way of sneaking in and out of these fights, and have a little bit more damage on hand, as it does feel like they are lacking in these prolonged engagements and trying to burst someone down. So we'll see if it's going to be enough for Boom. Fnatic, and they're just looking scarier and scarier. They can't handle Raven all too well from Boom's end. You're at the point where DJ, again, is just becoming a massive factor. Aether Lens up, Keen Optic still in the backpack, Ninja Gear to just sneak around. He knows what he has to do in the Shadow Shaman. He just stands back, shackles Hex if he has the opportunity, smoke, drop wards on an objective to force a response, and it just becomes really tough for Boom to fight against that. You're working onto a BKB here for Tims, so no Ags build up for the kickback. I think eventually there could be some value in that repositioning spell. Like, if you can't handle a Raven, you can just kick him away. So that could be one way for Tims to go as the game goes on. Again, whether or not there is enough time for him to reach that point is a very different question, as it doesn't feel like there could be. And Boom, it feels like they're one fight away from just dropping this entire series, and Fnatic finding that revenge from their earlier meetup here in Tour 2. Fnatic just in very strong form. Look at Raven. So confident he's just going for a butterfly next. And how do you handle him after that? Like, your Ursa's not ready to deal with that invasion at all in this game.
Yeah, I mean, last game he had an MKB, and well, this time around, obviously he doesn't want to go down the same route, as you haven't got as much value. There's no Wind Ranger here for Armel, but he might be forced to if the butterfly does get completed. So now Jackie does pick up a Satanic, but it does seem like he just needs more to be able to survive through the onslaught of Fnatic rather than having any form of damage. Fnatic moving in for the final lane of barracks now. We'll have to go for a T2 tower. Won't be too hard though. There'll be no contest from Boom. It's all about that high ground. Buyback still not really available for Boom either. You've only got Skem and FBZ with the buyback at the moment. Definitely a scary defense to try and make. Fnatic will see if they fully commit for this one. Raven will leave the cheese behind here for Jams, it seems. I suppose you've got the double Astral. Serpent Wards, though, are going to drop, and that's going to make it very hard now to try and defend the T3 tower. So once that T3's down, you're going to be able to walk in very freely as Fnatic. And the T3's basically gone. Serpent Wards have it. Raven, he should feel very comfortable now, and he will. Moving in onto the melee barracks. Boom. They've got to find a way to initiate. Seems like it's all up to FBZ, but Armel making warning shots, trying to force some BKBs out early. Not going to fly out yet. Raven, he'll get stunned up. Skem, be fine to scurry away here from Jabs. Rax still under siege as Yopaj will get stunned up, or rather hexed up once again. Still Jackie is going to move in, and Raven is already out of mana, but he's still just kind of manning up. He gets the melee barracks. Aegis is expiring in 15 seconds, so they are being very patient here, Boom, to fully commit for the team fight. It seems like that might be enough, though. Fnatic, they're not going to throw this away. They'll go back, wait for the right moment, and move back in, maybe when you've just got the Serpent Wards up.
No, FBZ. That's his Hex. That's his buyback. His buyback's gone. And he doesn't even have the Hex to show for it.
Oh, boy. That could be tough. If Fnatic, if they saw the Scythe device in the courier, they might just move up right now. Maybe they didn't, though. Maybe they just thought they got a courier and that's it, but maybe they just assume FBZ has buyback anyway.
Yeah, they play it safe. I think Fnatic understands they're not in a rush to end this game. They're ahead by a good amount. Boom are the ones with their backs against the wall here for that #1 spot. And it's looking tough for Boom. You know, this high ground hold, it's been very hard to execute. They've got some tools on hand to help Jackie survive up front. They've got the Shadow Blade up in Yopaj, but that butterfly we were talking about on Raven earlier, Mike, it's up and running. So Raven hits like a truck. He's got a little bit of evasion to play with as well. And he's just very durable in the front lines. Even FBZ is not going to be able to fully dish out the damage he'd want to with, say, the Arcane Orb here. He has been doing a good job of just stealing a heck lot of mana with the Astral. I think at some point I saw him steal 1.4k mana. But, you know, looking for that opportunity for the big Santis Eclipse is not easy. And you have to be very careful with using the Astral offensively here as well. Fnatic, they'll go for a smoke up again. If they win that next fight with no buyback in FBZ, that could spell the end for Boom.
And they've got that double damage rune available on Armel. He'll pop it. Certain wards up. They've just got to drop the wards. Boom already looking for a sneak attack. Will wrap around, but where are they headed? They've got to go through their own triangle, surely. They will. Fnatic still very patient, not dropping the wards yet. They need DJ down first. That's why Boom are trying to sneak in from the backside. Fnatic now know exactly what's going on. Look at the way they position. DJ automatically onto the high ground, not allowing them to move in and trying to snipe them as Jackie is forced to try and go after the Deucer. Tims, he will find the Shaman. DJ, he's been controlled up. Still alive though. Should finally die and does. That's one down. Can you find any more though? Raven, he's the big problem. Jackie already forced to retreat and try to get a reset going, which he will with the Satanic, but they are going to lose Yopaj. And he has no buyback for another 50 seconds. Mega creeps are up. Fnatic, they even found Schem. And this could just be it. Surely. They might try one more time here for Boom. Again, 35 seconds for buyback to be back up here for this Dragon Knight. But they've got to try a bit faster than that. Armel almost kind of inviting them to. Jabs, hands up, gets a high five from the tier 4 tower. Boom still not jumping in, still trying to be patient. They've got 15 seconds for Japoi to be back in this, but it's not too long. It's too long in the end, it seems, as Jabs is going to get jumped. Jackie, Raven, they're going to try and move in onto the Deucer, but the shackles are there. DJ, he'll hold Jackie down. Raven, he'll get right to work. They just can't control this Medusa whatsoever. Jackie's going to go down. He has buyback available. They'll try one last time at the Ancient. It's completely exposed. Fnatic, looking for the #1 spot, might just have it in their grasp as they'll focus down the Ancient. Still Raven trying to go after Yopaj, but decides better of it. Goes right for the jugular with the BKB out. There's no way to stop it. GG's been called, and Fnatic, they will be your #1 team for SEA for Tour 2 of the DPC. And Boom Esports, I think everyone kind of expected them to be able to come in and contest Fnatic for that #1 spot, John, but Fnatic, they were just too good tonight.
And they play extremely well. Again, with Fnatic, seeing them all together in Team House now, it makes them a better team. And we talked about this on our own time in our own podcast. You know, we were discussing why Fnatic might look a bit rocky. This is a team that should have looked solid from Tour 1 with Armel and Johnny in, and it's taken all the way here until Tour 2 to really shape in because they haven't been able to bond as much as other teams have. You know, they haven't been in Team House as much. There's only so much you can do to strengthen your bonds online. It's looking good. They play strongly here. They had a good read on what Boom wanted to do. Boom, for their part, didn't feel like they were playing to their max potential, and maybe it's down to the fact that they're split up. Because we've seen FBZ go back to Indonesia with Jackie. Mushi went back home. They're all settling their visas. They've got the majors on their mind. And, you know, one thing as well for this situation is we wouldn't be here if Boom didn't have those power issues. So, you know, what can you do? All boiling off from that one event, which, you know, circumstances you can't help the circumstances that surround it. But Fnatic play extremely well tonight. And, you know, I'm starting to feel great about them going to the majors. You know, there's always a bit of doubts of Fnatic and LAN. This iteration of Fnatic's looking good for that, Mike.
Well, I'll tell you what, John, after what you've just said, I'm not logging on to Reddit or Twitter for that matter. I'm just going to log out of all the socials as I've seen what happens when people remember that that Series 1 for Boom Esports. Our admin's probably going to be very upset with you, John. Ninal's not going to be happy about you prompting that. Still, it is MLP and johnxfire. It's been a pleasure. We are going to head to a short break, and right after that break, we'll be back with our lovely panel for an interview with one of the Fnatic players. We'll see you then.
Order for Fnatic, they are taking it top of the leaderboard, first place in Southeast Asia, and not only that, they did it up against Boom. I think that has looked so great this whole tour. Awesome. Apparently.
Oh. recover here.
Is your mic not working?
Yeah.
All right. Oh my God, guys! Fnatic have done it. Not only did they take the top spot in Southeast Asia, but they beat Boom to do it. I'm so impressed, honestly. Like it was so sad when they lost previously to Boom. You know, like Fnatic is a team that everyone roots for. We want Fnatic to do well. Boom though looked really good, and this series, I don't know, not so much. I think obviously large part of that is because Fnatic outplayed them in game 1 especially. They looked really good. Game 2, okay, not so good at the beginning, but they were really good at taking advantage of Boom overstepping and then taking lead and kind of just taking control from there. Fear, what do you think?
Oh, okay. Well, what I do think about this game is Ursa lost twice in a row, and I am not surprised whatsoever. Because it has the same problem against Medusa that I had in this game as well. It's like you ever get behind by just a little bit, and when you're playing against like DJ Shaman, and he's a beast on this hero, and like you saw how uncomfortable this Ursa was this entire game, like just pressing buttons before going in, like wasting them pretty much because he didn't want to get hexed and just like locked down entirely throughout the entirety of all of these fights. So I just really think they could have picked a better carry for like the situation. I would have loved to see the OD carry, it's a bit unconventional, but I will give props to like Jabs here. Like he's making it so Jackie's hero pool is quite limited by choosing these Timber and Tides. Like it really like slows down like what type of playstyle you want to have from Boom, and just giving him more of these like heroes that maybe they just know he's a little weaker as a team playing these heroes, and they're limiting his options to like pitch him, hold them into doing it.
Hi, Nat.
Hello.
We talked about how Ursa was not that great, and Jabs is a really good drafter, and he's awesome.
Did you talk about Boom's early game this game?
No, but I
compared to
can.
game 1? Oh, please enlighten me,
Oh my gosh, so Boom's early game, fantastic. Obviously, most of you saw they had like a really huge kill lead. Their net worth was lead was pretty big early too. They were playing everything right. Their lanes went really well. I think a lot of the things that they did right compared to last game was Ursa went for a Diffusal Blade instead of Battle Fury this time, which allowed him to get engaged in the game way sooner. They like last game, we look at how DJ on his Shadow Shaman was able to sneak Roshan at 11 minutes. This time, Boom had way more map control, and it meant that they were the ones invading the enemy triangle at like around 12 minutes, even bringing Ursa for it. They took their ancient stacks, they really controlled their area. It allowed them to get the Roshan at like 14 minutes or around then, and that just makes the game so much easier for them. Like their start was really strong.
Yeah, I think they made good adjustments from game 1 to game 2, like the Ursa going to the Diffusal build instead of Battle Fury, playing a little more aggressive. But at the end of the day, it was still like it still wasn't good enough, even though they played the similar draft both games and made good adjustments. It just, unfortunately, if you lose one team fighting against Medusa, that's how it is.
So you said last game as well. The OD in this game, though, the first time that we saw it in SEA and in Division 1. So I want to know from you guys just a little bit more about it, the impact you think it had, either good or bad, for Boom's lineup.
It did really well in the laning stage, and it started to snowball pretty hard. So I didn't mind it. I think it was pretty decent, but I do think that they had way too much like single target. Like they had a Tusk, they had Ursa, they had DK, and then the OD. Like just 4 single target heroes.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much diversity in their draft, and I think that played a big part into why they couldn't team fight, because just one Timber would go on, they'd blow everything on the Timber, and then they have nothing left in the tank, and they could just turn it with all the AoE spells they had on Fnatic.
Yeah, I really like the saving from the OD. Like FBZ obviously played really well, especially in that like first section of the game. He did get the Meteor Hammer. We were unsure about it, like if it was mid, about not getting it anymore because of the nerfs, but he made it work. They took the towers. They were being aggressive with it. It was nice. It looked good. Just it's kind of sad because like he went Ether Lens into Ags, which is very, I don't want to say greedy against pockets. Like you really want the Ags. It helps you farm. It helps you save more. But meanwhile, on the other side, you have a Timbersaw Jabs rush, like who is getting a BKB, and he's able to just go right into those fights and feel really good. And if FBZ was ever caught on his OD, it was just so hard.
What was the biggest standout for you guys on the side of Fnatic in this series that makes you excited to see them at the major?
I just think beating Boom like this would be like a huge confidence boost, and maybe Boom is probably still confident, so maybe going into the major there'll be 2 C teams that have like really high confidence going into this major. So I think that's like for them going to be really big.
I think like Boom obviously played bad in this series to lose. Like that's how you lose. But I do think what I like to see was these drafts were extremely experimental. The things like Yopaj on his Pango that we haven't seen, the offlane OD, it all seemed like they were trying to figure out how to counter Medusa, and I mean, it keeps going on. No one in C really knows how to deal with this hero. Overall, she's like seems really strong. So I'm glad to see them like trying to find ways to beat it. Maybe this just means in the future they just need to go ahead and ban it. I don't know. But Fnatic, on the other hand, I mean, they're just looking so clean. Their coordination's really good. I think they read moves from Boom really, really well this game. And like last game, there was just moments when Boom would smoke and Fnatic would just be on top of it and like hide and put themselves properly positioning. They're just great team.
Yeah, there's really not a lot that you can fault for Fnatic, especially in this series. But we're going to see how well they do at an interview, as we do have Jabs joining us for the winners interview. Jabs
Whole team.
and the whole team.
Hello.
Hello. How is everyone feeling that, you guys are coming out first place, top of SEA?
We're feeling really good, like after the comeback on the second game. So like, feel great to come back in the game.
Does it feel extra great because you guys beat Boom after losing to them the first time?
Yeah, I feel really good cause like we win the first game and then like they didn't adapt their ban or anything. Like they just give out everything we wanted and then like feel like we just beat them. Yeah.
What was the prep and the changes you guys made compared to last time?
I think we just learned a lot like from losing them in that series. So like I would say that like playing against them is really like fun because like there's a lot of things to learn and improve on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so I was watching you guys from like the beginning of the season, right? You guys looked a little shaky. It seems like you're getting stronger and stronger as like the team gels together. So going into this major now, do you guys feel like you're at peak condition right now, or do you think you guys have a lot of room to grow still?
I think we still do have a lot of room to grow as a team because like we kind of new in the team and we just like boot camp. We just got this boot camp for like not last week, like this week. When 4 days, yeah. So like I just got two boot camps in like 4 days, but like I've been in Philippines for like 1 more month. Yeah, but we don't have boot camp yet.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, you
like,
guys are
a lot to grow up.
you guys are looking better and better each day.
You guys willing to share what you're laughing about this time? Or is this still a secret?
No. What happened? Oh. Follow was like crawling on the ground to like dodge the camera.
Do you guys do you have a like favorite moment of this season of playing?
Favorite moment?
Yeah.
Maybe just last game because like we were down like 0-10 I think in the game or something. And then like we just like team wiped them without losing anything and got everything. So like it was pretty hype in the game.
What were the comms like? Were you guys like yelling or anything?
I think we do and like I think the Fnatic Dota on page is gonna have the voice comms maybe like less than 1 week later. It's gonna come out I think.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, our bro's gonna do it. Yeah. So like just follow Fnatic Dota on Facebook and wait for the comms.
Oh, yeah.
Getting a pay rise for that one for sure. I do have one more question before we let you go. Do you have any celebration plans? Are you guys expecting to do anything big after the win?
I think we're just gonna go have some good dinner and like maybe just go drink.
Sounds like
go party.
sounds very deserved. And is there anything you want to say to the Fnatic fans out there?
Oh, just like thank you to like whoever's supporting us, and then like we're gonna do well in the LAN tournament. Like we will do our best for the upcoming tournament. Thank you for the support, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jazz. We really appreciate the interview, and congratulations again to you and the team. We're excited for the major.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
So wholesome, man.
I love seeing the whole team in the shot.
Everyone's in the back, like mucking around, having a good laugh. It's nice.
Yeah.
But with that, it is the end of our last series, so we can have a look at the standings. So you know now that Fnatic are up there as the top team of SEA, closely followed by Boom. T1 taking the last major slot, Polaris falling just short, Nigma Galaxy C and SMG staying in Division 1 with Neon and Execration falling to Division 2, going to be replaced by RSG and Talent. Is this what you guys expected when we started 6 weeks ago?
Ooh, I mean, I expected
not
Boom
bad
to top
overall.
it, but it was like close between T1 and Fnatic, of course. Like, they're all three of them are really good teams. I think Neon Execration, I definitely thought at least one of them was going to be getting relegated.
Okay.
But overall, I mean, it looks fine. Like, it looks what we expected. And I think everyone's pretty happy with the teams going to the major.
I'm a little bit surprised SMG is down there, I won't lie.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
maybe they...
but didn't also expect them to go to the major either.
Okay.
Maybe I expected them for Polaris's potentially. But
It's
like,
hard. They're a fun team. Either they win or they just do some crazy shit and just lose.
What, they either win or lose? That's wild.
No, they have to do crazy shit and then they lose.
Very